Well, hello today, fellow riders. Good to see y'all today. Hope everyone's doing well. This is the adventure called life. I'm Joe. Let's roll. So, it occurred to me, I went riding with my wife the other day, and when I first started riding an e-bike, I hadn't ridden anything but motorcycles for a long time. I hadn't ridden a bicycle since I was, Lord, I would say very young, every day or that often. And there's a lot of things that if you hadn't ridden a bicycle in years and years and years, that you're going to forget. Some things that you're going to need to remember. For instance, okay, you see that sidewalk right there? You see how there's like a little lip there? I can get from here to there, but in order to go over something like that, I'm going to need to stand up off my seat. Like I stand up off my seat, you can do that. See, it's just little simple things like that that make a difference on a bicycle. Like, for instance, first day I come out here and I was riding that thing, I forgot about that. So I hit a bump way too hard, not standing, or raising up off the seat, and it jarred me loose. I made my teeth chatter, as it were. It's just simple things. Like, okay, when you're riding an e-bike, I'm like, I don't know if it's the case with, it is the case with mountain bikes and stuff, but you got to remember to gear down. Like, gear all the way down. Like, you can see it's in first gear. Gear all the way down before you stop. Let's say you're at a stop sign or something. Gear all the way down before you stop, or you're going to be absolutely struggling to take off again. See, like you do it right now, bam, you take off. It's easy as pie. But if not, if you do happen to forget, what you can do instead of trying to struggle to take off is just hit the button, because it'll automatically do it if you just hit the button. And remember your turn signals. If you have like this Adventure 2, it has turn signals on it, and you can't see it right there, but I'll push a button and the turn signal will pop up there, and it'll stay on for 15 seconds or until I let off of it. If not, you'll have to do your manual hand signals when you're turning. Very important. The main threat to you out here is a car, honestly, or a truck or something, just run you over. That's your main threat. You're not terribly concerned with somebody coming out from like a side street. What you're mainly concerned with is somebody hitting you from behind, or maybe just swerving over in your lane and hitting you. You gotta make sure you keep your head on a swivel. You can't tell from my paddling or anything, but I actually turn around quite frequent, and see, look, I turn around quite frequently. Look behind me. You'll see, like right here, I'm gonna stop. So I'm gonna go all the way down. I'm gonna go all the way down. Let me start my workout here. And then that way, when I go to take off, it's real easy to push. Real light. I'm not straining. Like I'm gonna snap a kneecap off trying to take off again. And if you got arthritis or something, that's a good thing to remember, because taking off can be a little tricky, especially if you've got joint injuries, or you just don't feel like trying to monster it up a hill. You got to remember these gears. Remember what they do. Remember to use them. Like my wife, okay, for instance, my wife went riding with me, and she's rode with me one time so far, and She just left it in the same gear. The whole time she was riding in the same gear. She forgot she could even change gears. You know, it's things like this that you're gonna run into when you first start riding. You'll be like, oh yeah, I can shift. You know, I need to shift down when I come to a stop sign, or I need to shift down when I come to a stop. Think of it like a motorcycle. You wouldn't leave a motorcycle in a high gear when you slowed down, you know. And if you stopped at a stop sign on a motorcycle, you would gear all the way to the lowest gear. You know, if not, it's not going to take off. It's the same deal, except you're the motor. It's going to be hard for you to take off if you don't get that right. And it can wear a leg out quick. Whew. So, just little simple things, folks, simple things. Well, it's another beautiful day here in Knoxville, as you can tell. It's another one of them not a cloud in the sky days. We ride past these new apartments they rent for an ungodly amount. I think they're mainly aimed toward Garandale, mainly aimed toward college students. And also, don't forget to look to your, observe your surroundings. Head on a swivel when you're riding these, you know, when you're out in traffic. Like, I'll take this little side road. This is just a little like loop thing here, but I take this to let cars who might be behind me in a hurry to go around me. Okay, like you can clearly see that, like, hey, you see that big curve right there? Don't try to jump that. You know, don't try to jump up on that. You know, that's too high. You could. Now, you could, but you ain't going to at the start. You know, and you got to remember, you got options. You're on a bicycle. This isn't like a motorcycle or a car. You know, you can ride on the sidewalk if it's illegal where you are. It is where I am. So I can just take a tour. I could do this whole thing on the sidewalk. You know. But the good thing about, you know, this bike or bicycle is you see how big that curve is, right? Well, I'll stand up off the seat. Bam, there we go. You know, now if I stayed sitting on the seat and tried that, yeah, it would be a teeth chatter. Just a little bit of advice. These are things that you naturally did when you were, you know, 10, 12-year-old or whatever-year-old, when you used to ride a bicycle all the time. You know, you learned all this stuff back then. You got to try to remember it all now, you know, because I know a lot of you guys are 30s and up, 20s, 30s and up that are getting these e-bikes. Usually it's about that, you're usually about that age where you can afford one, you know. I mean, I'm sure you can get one in your 20s, but you got other things you're concerned with in your 20s. All right, so here we come to a stop sign. We're going to gear all the way down. Bam. See, we can stop. Got it in first gear. Take off. Easy peasy. Now we can shift back up. You can signal your turn signal or hold your arm out. You know, either way you want to do it. You see, well, they hold the arm out. It's a little tricky sometimes. Well, folks, here we are at Island Home Park. That'll make this the end of part 1. Stick around for part 2. Till I see you next time, keep pedaling.